history, about $19 billion, and we're still counting. I'm going to explain to you exactly what that means when I talk about we're still counting, because a lot of data is missing from the actual numbers, and it's still very early. It just happened, and it's just absolutely horrific. And for context here, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is clickbait, this wasn't the worst ever. Well, the entire cryptocurrency market is currently down about 25%. We were at a high of about 4.28, or yeah, about 4.82 billion, 2 trillion, 4.24 trillion, 2.8 trillion, and we had a swing wick low all the way down to 3.57 trillion. So in the last week, 25% of the entire crypto market cap, including Bitcoin, was wiped out. Right now, we are sitting at around $3.71 trillion. So it's a lot of money. And if you're also thinking, okay, well, that's not too much, this is crypto, it is what it is. When we were during the panorama, 1.2 billion was liquidated from the crypto markets. And yes, the market cap was a lot lower then. Also, when we have FTX, the crypto contagion, and all the crypto exchanges that blew up, we dropped 1.6 billion. Right now, the initial numbers we had were around 9 billion. Now it is at $19.2 billion. And the reason why we don't have all the data right now is platforms like coinglass, they experienced large-scale proxy attacks, so they weren't able to report all of the data. Binance went down, I believe multiple other different crypto exchanges went down, and a lot of the price feeds aren't showing accurately. Plus, we have all of these DeFi protocols, which a lot of people are speculating it happened with the DeFi protocols, because now you're able, with like Aster and Hyperliquid and everywhere else, you're able to trade perps, use leverage on DeFi. So there's no KYC there, there's no AML there. It's a completely different ballgame. So we're still calculating the numbers. So I'm going to give you a rundown of exactly what happened, what we do know. And again, there's still a lot of unknowns. So a lot of information in this video may be outdated by tomorrow or next week, just because we're still getting a lot of new information. I've spent the last 2 hours this morning on Spaces talking, listening to people, explaining what I think is happening, and kind of researching and going through all the data so you don't have to. So as of right now, as of Saturday, October 11th, 2025, $19.13 billion were liquidated from the crypto markets. And this impacted 1.6 million traders. Binance, it's reporting that the numbers are a lot higher on Binance because, again, we're still waiting for those data feeds. Coinglass, which is a really wonderful liquidation platform that you can see like inflows and outflows and everything else. That was attacked by a large proxy attack last night, and we don't have all the accurate numbers there. Binance also had some of the worst liquidations according to the entire feed. But they did post that, hey, if you were impacted, if your orders weren't filled, or if you lost money, you weren't able to close your positions, contact customer support. We'll do what we can. As of right now, Coinbase, Crow, and Kraken, they're okay. They didn't have any issues. Also, too, a lot of stablecoins depegged, which is a big issue. When you have stablecoins depegging at the rate that they were depegging, I read somewhere that's they depegged all the way to down. Some depegged to about 60 cents. That's wild. Again, stablecoins, they're essentially supposed to be stable, but if we do have extreme market volatility, then they will depeg. It's pretty normal. You can actually look that data on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, etc. It just is what it is. Like it's part of what happens, but those eventually get sorted out. And a lot of the top ones like USDC and Tether and whatnot, those generally bounce back because these companies have a lot of liquidity and a lot of resources to essentially repeg them. Also, there are some really interesting things that happen. Well, before we get into that, this liquidation was caused by perps, by using leverage. A lot of people were just over leverage, but there was also a lot of market manipulation that happened. Like a lot of people said initially when we did the live show yesterday, we're like, hey, we're going to see a drop because of the China-Trump tariffs. That was announced yesterday. It was in the morning, and then it was announced later on. There's 2 announcements from Trump. So they were in negotiation, and Trump says, hey, we're going to do tariffs, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually there was an announcement later on around, I want to say like 2, 3 p.m. I was at the thrift store at that time, that Trump is imposing 100% tariffs on China, on China. And then that's when everything started nuking like crazy. Like around that time, I want to say around 1 to 2 p.m. TT, everything was going like crazy and liquidating like crazy. We saw altcoins drop between, from their current highs, 70 to 80%. Bitcoin broke down below $110,000. I did buy the dip on a couple things while I was out, but a lot of people were not able to get in that fast just because Ethereum wasn't working. Well, it was having problems. Solana had posted that they were fine. Like there's a lot of issues with liquidity and with these dexes and just everything that's happening. So that was kind of the moral of the story yesterday. We had the biggest bloodbath in crypto history. We're talking about $19.2 billion that were liquidated. That's a lot of money. And the people that got hurt, the people that were in spot, were fine. So we're going to talk about that in a second. I'll segue to that. The dangers of trading with leverage and whatnot. But a lot of people got hurt. A lot of alts dropped. A lot of alts are rebounding now. Some people think that this is the beginning of the bear market. Other people think that they just needed to flush out longs because we kept going higher. Other people think that there was manipulation from China. Other people think that there was manipulation from various other entities. So when we're talking about manipulation, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, okay? I'm not. I've been in crypto long enough to know we see a lot of manipulation happen in real time. This one, to the extent that it was absolutely horrific. There's a lot of different mechanics happening behind the scenes, especially now, because you have to understand, last cycle we did have dexes, but the amount of dexes that we have that you can use leverage on and whatnot is just insane. We've got hyperliquid and we've got aster and we've got all these different resources for DeFi, which is great because DeFi allows for a level playing field. I'm going to segue back into that in a second too, because also really interesting timing, especially with that letter that got leaked about essentially banning DeFi in America. So, but basically there's a lot of people that are using leverage and a lot of people were over leveraged and they got wrecked, which is why we talk about on the channel, like, hey, if you want to use leverage, you need to be an experienced trader. If you are not an experienced trader, you have no business using leverage because you will get liquidated. And when you do get liquidated, basically the market's taking everything back and your entire position closes and they take it. And that's kind of what happened. There was a lot of open positions. We talked about open interest a lot and they just got completely wiped out regardless of what their stop loss was and whatnot, just because everything nuked so hard. And if you take a look at the daily chart from yesterday, you'll see those psychotic swing wick lows and those will wipe you out. However, some people that did set limit orders, they were able to get some of those filled. Some people, not everyone. There's still a lot of issues and stuff going on with the crypto exchanges. So not everybody was able to get their orders filled. Not everybody was able to make swaps. Ethereum was just completely overloaded. Aave reported that they're handling everything properly, that their systems are up and running, which is great for DeFi. There's drama with Wintermute. There's drama with market makers. There's just a lot of drama with Binance and a lot of speculation and just crazy things that are happening. So there were some interesting things that did happen. So World of Refinance dumped about 30 to 35%. And then the team posted, hey, well, we're going to go ahead and do a $10 million buyback. And that sounds a little bit sketchy because, these are people that are very closely connected with Trump and, kind of know what's going on with the tariffs and have this kind of this additional information that most of us don't have. So that was also a little bit shady. Also, there was a Bitcoin whale that shorted and made $160 million, and they basically deposited about 2 days before, very, very close to this happening. So a lot of people are speculating that there was people that knew, and a lot of people are speculating that there's other people that knew what was going on. So what did we learn here? We learned here that markets are unprecedented. We learned that manipulation does happen. It doesn't just happen in crypto. It does happen in traditional finance as well. It's not as transparent. There's going to be a lot more information that's coming out. So this is what we do know. Now, all of this was not caused by the Trump China tariffs. We do know that the tariffs do impact the market. But this type of liquidations that occurred, the almost $20 billion, that's not normal in any way, shape, or form. Really quickly, got to give my channel members a big shout out, and then I want to talk about something else I found that was very interesting, because remember a Democratic legislation um, thing got leaked, and they basically wanted to ban DeFi. And a lot of this insanity that happened with these liquidations occurred with DeFi. So I'm gonna bring that all in for you. Shout out to Marvin for showing up, to Mr. L for showing up. We adore you guys. I'm glad that you were able to buy the dip. Shout out to Dale. Shout out to Tim. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much, Lawrence, for the super chat. I appreciate it. And then Tim set a membership to V-Ray of Minneapolis. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, people are saying that Binance have screwed everybody. I mean, again, Binance is a big player. They're out in Asia. There's a lot of questions happening. There's a lot of people questioning what's going on with the Asian exchanges, unfortunately, right now, because of all the insanity that's happening. So everything I just told you, this is what we know. But again, we're going to probably find out that liquidations are closer to, people are anticipating $30 to $40 billion, because again, we're still trying to get all that data, and it's a lot of data, a lot of data, and AI is good for this. Now, we do know that we had a letter that was leaked. Miss Ellie reported that Democrats are basically trying to ban DeFi. A lot of the stuff happened with DeFi. So this is just going to add fuel to the fire, because again, with DeFi, we don't have KYC, we don't have AML. And I'm pretty much straight down the middle in most cases. But right now, just because we know we're getting regulation and retail doesn't have a seat at the table, my concern is that DeFi completely gets absorbed into this whole TradFi thing, because crypto is getting absorbed. We're seeing like a vertical integration with crypto into TradFi with all the tokenization and whatnot. And that was kind of to be expected, primarily because of the Bitcoin and crypto spot ETFs. And another thing too is we have all of these different products with crypto that are getting integrated into the in traditional finance. So there's going to be a crazy merge of liquidity. There's just going to be a lot of insanity happening in the coming months. But now the concern is that the Democrats are going to see, hey, this is the biggest liquidation ever. We need to have tight protections on DeFi. And we do know that SEC Chair Paul Atkins was like, hey, we want to kind of exempt DeFi. That's what he's talking about. But now it's going to be a battle. It's going to be an absolute battle to protect DeFi. And the way that they're going to go about is like, hey, it's dangerous. This is what happened, X, Y, and Z. But realistically, DeFi is the last frontier to give retail a level playing field. Because retail cannot operate in traditional finance. Retail doesn't have a seat at the table. You have to have a certain amount of capital to do so, and that's not achievable for everybody. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a slam at any of you, but it's moral of the story, okay? So DeFi allows for anybody to participate. And the way that you do well in DeFi is you work really hard and you practice self-education. But now that's going to be at risk. So I thought it was really, really interesting timing. It was also interesting timing with the Trump-China tariffs, because again, China's got a lot of capital. So a lot of people are saying that this is coordinated to flush out longs. A lot of people are saying that there's manipulation, that, the Asian exchanges and whatnot. So moral of the story is a lot of people got wrecked. A lot of people got hurt. $19.2 billion was liquidated from the crypto markets. A lot of people were over leveraged, and this could be the start of the bear market. Now, is it going to be start of the bear market? I don't know. I have no idea. I personally do believe that we're in a super cycle, but an event like this was crazy, like absolutely crazy. Like no one anticipated this. And when we talk about black swan events, that's what this means. It means that you kind of know something could happen, and then it happens. You're like, oh my God, and that's a black swan event. So is the market, are we done? Is this no longer a super cycle? The next month or so is probably going to tell this, because we're going to be able to see what's happening with price action, okay? XRP was fine, okay? Like you need to chill out, you guys. You got to chill out. And if you're somebody that has trouble with investing on your own, you need to use like somebody like Brian Dame. He's a licensed financial advisor. So what did we learn? We learned that there's people with more capital than us. There's people with more influence than us, and that they can do whatever they want to do with the markets. Shout out to MIB. And what do we do in return? Well, because we're retail investors, we don't have necessarily that type of capital. We can probably stay away from leverage. If you're not an experienced trader, you have no business using leverage. That's something we talk about a lot. We need to have entry and exit plans. We need to not keep crypto on exchanges, because there's going to be some crypto exchanges that are going to blow up. You should be using cold storage. And we should also be practicing risk management. Risk management is basically looking at your portfolios. And again, retail is important. And being a retail person in crypto, you're able to make your own decisions. So you need to start taking accountability. And I'm not shaming anybody right now that got wrecked at all. I'm just talking about moving toward the future. Moving toward the future, okay? So we need to start taking accountability for our own actions. We need to decide, are we a trader, are we not a trader? And then we need to act accordingly. And this is why I talk heavily about making moon bags and de-risking a lot, because we never know what's going to happen in the market. So we're going to be doing a lot more education and a lot more reminding, like, hey, did you take profit? Do you have a trading and investing plan? Like, are you using cold storage? Are you practicing proper OPSEC so that we can protect your capital? Because we're all here to make as much money as ethically as possible. So this was, in fact, the worst day in crypto history. 1.6 million traders got absolutely wrecked, and it's a horrific thing. I've also opened my DMs on X, so if you're somebody that did get wrecked, feel free to drop me a line. I will respond as fast as I can. I'm very just sorry to anybody who lost money. To people who were able to bought the dip, that's awesome. But at the same time, try to be kind to people, especially in crypto right now. A lot of people are absolutely wrecked. So that's what happened. $19.2 billion were liquidated in 24 hours. And we're probably going to see a lot of aftermath happen, just like we did with the crypto contagion that occurred like 2021, 2022. So I'm sending you guys love and light. And yeah, bye. Make sure to smash the like too.